Okay, let's start at Test Zayin Aleph.
I'm sorry?
Test Zayin Aleph.
Test Zion. Oh, right, that's the one. Okay, good. Any wooden utensil that broke into two parts is tahor, except for a folding table, a variety platter, and the folding bench of a householder. Rabbi Yehuda says also the Magis and the Babylon code are the same as they. At what point do wooden utensils become susceptible to ketuma? A bed and a cradle becomes tummy when one smooths them with the skin of a fish. If we decided not to smooth them, they are tummy right away. Rabbi Meir says a bed becomes tummy from when one waves three bottom onto it. Wooden baskets become susceptible to tumor from when the craftsman secures their rims and trims them. But those made of strips of palm trees, even though he did not trim them from the inside, are tummy since they are thus kept. A reed basket becomes susceptible to tumor when he secures its rim and trims it and finishes fashioning its hanging cord. A case for holding flasks and a case for holding cups, even though he did not trim them from the inside, are tummy since they are thus kept. Small sifters in women's baskets are susceptible to tumor from when the craftsman secures their rims and trims them. Large baskets and large bins are susceptible from when he makes two coils around the circumference. The screen of a sifter, a sieve, and a pan of a balance are susceptible to tumor from when he makes one coil around the circumference. A basket is susceptible from when he attaches two rings around its circumference, and the strap basket from when he attaches one ring to it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'll confess I didn't actually prepare today's Mishnah, so we're going to be learning these together from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. So at what point do leather utensils become susceptible to tumor? Okay, a turmel is a shepherd's pouch. So always when we're dealing with these utensils, it's at what point are they usable and at what point do people start using them? Okay, so the Tanna Kama says from when the craftsman puts edges on it and inserts drawstrings, then it's useful. Okay, Rabbi Yoda Mer Misha Yaseh Es Oznav, only from when he attaches its loops. I'm interested in why attaching the loops makes it useful. According to Rabbi Yehuda,
I'm wondering why it says, and he inserts the drawstrings. Well, he can't insert the drawstrings, I guess, unless he has the hoops.
That's right. So Rabbi Yehuda is disagreeing with the Tanna Kama. He's saying that it's astringency, so it becomes susceptible at an earlier stage.
Wow.
Okay. So the shepherds must still insert the drawstring into the loops before the bag can be closed. So possibly the shepherd would not use a specific type of string to insert into the loops, nor was the insertion of the string a detailed task. Rather, the shepherd would take any string that came to hand, insert it through the loops, and tie his bag closed. So the actual insertion of the drawstrings is therefore not a factor in determining the bag's functionality. Okay, so that's why Rabbi Yehuda is saying that it becomes tummy once the hoops are made. Okay, next. Skurtia is a leather tanner's apron. Okay, from when he edges it and trims it and attaches the sashes. And again, Rabbi Yehuda comes and says, from when he attaches the strings. So probably the same sort of principle as with the pouch. Okay, ketabulia. Okay, what is a ketabulia? Is a leather bedspread. From when he edges it and trims it. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Misha Yaseh Es Kichoseha. And again, Rabbi Yehuda says from when he attaches its strings. Okay, now that's interesting because that looks like it's going to be a kula. From when he attaches the strings. The Rishonim do not explain the nature of the kichos of the bedspread. We can surmise what the function was based on the nature of the kichos of the shepherd's bag. Like the shepherd's bag, the bedspread also had strings sewn on around its edge, and these strings were tied to the frame of the bed or to the ropes to ensure that the bedspread would not shift around or fall off the bed.
It seems that all these things are when they really finish the product.
That's always the principle. That's always the principle when the product is finished, and that the argument is when is it considered finished?
Right.
Okay. Hakarva keses shal or. What if you got a pillow or mattress of leather? They're susceptible misha yachsom v'kanev again when he fully stitches them and trims them. Rabbi Yehuda mer misha yisperem v'yishayer bahem pachos michamishat tefachim. Says when he sews them and leaves over in them a space smaller than 5 handbreadths. So that space smaller than 5 handbreadths, basically because they're going to have a stuffing pushed into them, I'm guessing. Let me just see. Yeah, there's a stuff for the stuffing to be put in. So once he's sewn it up enough that that it's no longer practical to put more stuffing in, that's when it's considered complete. Okay, a petilia is tame. What is a petilia? Says the commentary, a petilia is a wicker basket used for storing dried figs. Okay, this basket was made from interlacing willow reeds and was 1 hand breadth in height. Okay, it's susceptible to tumah because it meets the criteria mentioned above. It is strong enough that it can be carried while filled with figs and is intended for extended use. But a chasina is tahor. Okay, what is the chasina? That's a large basket made from thorn branches or from strips of palm branches. It was used to store clay. A chasina is not susceptible to tumah because it's not transportable at all. Since it's weakly constructed, it cannot be moved without breaking. Okay, next. Signias shel alin tahoros. Fruit covers made of leaves are tahor. V'shel nitzarin tameos, but those made of twigs are tame. Okay, what's the difference? So our Mishna is referring to small bowl-shaped baskets made from leaves, which are used to cover and preserve moist fruits such as figs, dates, or grapes. They're not susceptible to tumah because they were used as a temporary expedient and then discarded. Okay, moreover, they were made from leaves, which are not a durable, lasting material. But those made from twigs of tame, says the commentary, some fruit covers were fashioned from tsuri hadekel, a fibrous substance that grows at the base of a palm tree. Since these palm-bast covers are durable and are not only used temporarily, they're deemed utensils and are susceptible to tumah. Okay. Next, so a wrap into which one places fruits and from which one removes them is tame. What is this wrap? The term chosel is found in Yechezkel. The chosel is a woven piece that was wrapped around dates, enclosing them. A chosel is a vessel made from woven strips of palm leaves, okay, in which dates would be placed to ripen. The basket was not very wide. It probably resembled a small package, and the palm strips were very soft. The basket would be sealed with the unripened dates inside. The dates would be left inside for some time to ripen. Alternatively, the dates were placed in this utensil to be used at the market so that the fruit would not sully one's hands. Okay. So our Mishnah rules that if dates can be placed inside the wrap and removed without tearing it open, i.e. a small opening was left after it was sealed, then the wrap is considered a kli and it is susceptible to tumah. Okay, but if he cannot get into it without tearing it or untying it, then it's tahor. Okay, so the commentary explains, if the dates cannot be removed from the wrap unless the wrap is torn open or undone, the wrap is not susceptible to tumah. The wrap in this case was only intended for one-time use, since after the person rips it open, he's going to throw it away. So it's a disposable object and does not qualify as a utensil. Okay. Kasya shel zore granos, the leather glove of winnowers, shel holche drachim, or of wayfarers, shel ose pishtan, of flax workers. That's tame. Okay, now why is a glove tame? I would expect because it's clothing. Okay. Our translation of Kasya's glove is based on Rosh and Rambam, who define it as a conventional glove made in the shape of one's hand. Others describe this glove as a sort of leather hand strap which was wrapped around the hand. In either case, the object's status with regard to tumah susceptibility depends on the purpose it serves, as our Mishnah will explain. Okay. Or flax workers. So winnowers of wayfarers and flax workers all use sticks. When winnowing grain, the stalks are beaten with a stick, etc. So the workers would wear a glove to prevent the stick from slipping out of their grasp. The glove also served to protect the workers' hands from being pricked by any thorns or twigs. So that's tameh. Okay, because it's meant to help or enable the wearer to grasp the stick that he's using, it's deemed a leather receptacle. I would have just said it's a garment, but okay, it's a leather receptacle in as much as the object being grasped rests in the grip of the glove and is held in place by it. Okay. But those of dyers or blacksmiths is tahor. Why is that? Let's see, commentary. Dyers and blacksmiths operate near an open fire, so they wear a glove or wind a leather strap around their hands to absorb their sweat. This is done either so that their perspiration would not ruin their work or simply to make them more comfortable. These gloves cannot be viewed as containing anything. Since they're not considered receptacles, they're not susceptible to tumah. Now that's interesting because I would have assumed that since you're wearing it on your hand, it's considered a garment and it's subject to tumas begadim. That's what I would have thought. But maybe they're not considered normal clothes because they're utensils. and
Yeah,
they
they seem, that's right. They seem more like a utensil rather than
yeah,
they
rather than a garment.
a glove that would keep you warm. That might be a different kind of a glove then.
Anyway, so Rabbi Yossi says, Av shel garos hoskiyotza behen. And he agrees, and he says that the bean grinders is the same deal, that it's just for perspiration and therefore tahor. Zeh klal. Your general rule is hasoy lekabala tameh mipnei hazeh tahor. So a glove that's meant to hold things is tameh, but that is used just because of perspiration is tahor.
All right.
Let me just see if there's anything about it being a clothing item. No, there's nothing here about a question of whether gloves are considered a beged. Anyway, I assume that it's as we're saying, that it's more of an implement than a garment.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
Yud base.
Calligraphone, whose spoon was removed to unton, is tamei on account of its teeth. If its teeth were removed, it is tamei on account of its spoon. An applicator whose spoon was removed is tamei on account of its tip. If the tip was removed, it is tamei on account of the spoon. A stylus whose nib was removed is tamei on account of the eraser. And if the eraser was removed, it is tamei on account of the nib. A zolmastera, whose spoon was removed, is tamei on account of the fork. If the fork was removed, it is tamei on account of the spoon, and the same applies to the teeth of a tiller. The measure for all of these is as much as necessary in order to do their work. A blade that was damaged is tamei until the majority of it is removed. If the socket broke, it is tahor. An axe with broad blade was removed is tamei on account of its splitting blade. If its splitting blade was removed, it is tamei on account of its broad blade, and if its socket broke, it is tahor. A fire shovel whose scoop was removed is tamei since it is like a hammer. These are the words of Rav Meir, but the common rule of tahor. A saw whose teeth were removed, one from every two is tahor, and if there remains a sixth measure in one place, it is tamei. The adz, the scalpel, the plane, and the auger that were damaged are tamei, and if the cutting edge was removed, they are tahor. All these utensils that broke into are tamei except the auger. A plain block alone is tahor. A needle whose eyes or point was removed is tahor, and if one prepared it to stretching, it is tamei. A needle of sacks. I don't understand.
No. Sorry. We've already gone past 3.
We did 3. Okay.
Yeah, so tomorrow.
I thought we did this already. All right, because I didn't understand this whole thing when I was looking at this. If one prepared it for stretching, does that mean a needle? Stretching? You can't stretch a needle, really.
No. It's for stretching other cloth. You put it in place in order to hold it in place, in order to hold cloth in place to stretch it.
I think we did this one, but okay, all right. Whatever you say.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Of course, we did that a week ago.
That's right. All right. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, we have Aleph Vav. There are 10 levels of holiness. Eretz Yisrael is holier than all other lands. And what constitutes its holiness? That we bring it from the Omer, Bikurim, and the 2 loaves, which we did not bring from all other lands. Walled cities are holier than it, in that Mitzarim are sent out of them, and a corpse may be carried about within these cities until they desire, but when it is taken out, it may not be brought back. Within the walls of Yerushalayim, within the walls is holier than they, and that we may eat kedoshim Keilim and Ma'aser Sheni there. The temple mount is holier than it. In it, zavos, midos, and women who have given birth are not permitted to enter there. As Kel is holier than it, in that Haman Jews and people contaminated with corpse tumor are not permitted to enter there. The women's courtyard is holier than it, and it is Tevel Yom is not permitted to enter there, but they are not obligated to bring a katos offering for entering it. The Israelites' courtyard is holier than it, and in that Machusa Kaporim is not permitted to enter there, and they're obligated to bring a katos offering for entering it. The Kohanim's Kohan is holier than it, in that Israelites are not permitted to enter there except when they are needed for leading, for slaughtering, and for waving. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
And we are on to Bakaros. Okay. Ched Gimel. If one's life had not previously given birth and she now gave birth to 2 males, he must give 5 selim to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, the father is exempt. If the father died and the sons are alive, Meir says if they gave while they had not yet divided the estate, it is given, but if not, they are exempt. And Rabbi Yehuda says the estate has become liable, and if she gave birth to a male and a female, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If two wives who had not previously given birth now gave birth to two males, he must give 10 selim to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, if he gave the money to the Kohen, he must return 5 selim to him. If he gave it to two Kohanim, he cannot exact it from them. If they gave birth to a male and a female, or two males and a female, he must give 5 selim to a Kohen. If they gave birth to two females and a male, or two males and two females, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If one wife who had previously given birth and if one had not previously given birth now gave birth to two males, he must give 5 selim to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, the father is exempt. If the father died and the sons are alive, Rav Meir says if they gave while they had not yet divided the estate, it is given, but if not, they are exempt. If Yehuda says the estate has become liable, and if they gave birth to a male and a female, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If two wives of two men, neither of whom had previously given birth, now give birth to two males, one must give 5 selim to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, if they both gave one to a Kohen, he must return 5 selim to them. If they gave the two Kohanim, they cannot exact it from them. If they gave birth to a male and a female, the fathers are exempt, but the son is required to redeem himself. If they gave birth to two females and a male, and two males and two females, there's nothing here for a Kohen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sanhedrin.
Vav Hey. Said Rav Meir, at a time when a person suffers, what expression does the Shekhinah use? So to speak, I am burdened by my head. I am burdened by my arm. If the arm present is pain, so for the blood of the wicked which he spilled, how much more so for the blood of the righteous? Not only this, but anyone who leaves the deceased relative overnight transgresses the negative commandment. If he left him overnight for the sake of his honor, in order to bring him a casket or shrouds, he does not transgress. They do not bury him in his ancestral plot. Rather, there are 2 cemeteries set aside for the court, one for those who were bareheaded and strangled, and one for those who were stoned or burned. When the flesh has decomposed, they gather the bones and bury them in their place. The relatives come to inquire after the welfare of the judges, and the witnesses say, we have nothing on our hearts against you because you have judged correctly. They do not mourn, but they grieve, for grieving is only in the heart. Four executions were given to the court: stoning, burning, beheading, and strangulation. Rav Shimon said burning, stoning, strangulation, and beheading. This is the procedure for all those who are stoned.
Okay. Sukkah.
Sukkah. Okay, Gimel Zion. The minimum size of an esrog mace says is like a nut. Rabbi Yehuda says like an egg. And the maximum so that he can hold 2 estrogim in one hand. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yossi says even one that must be held in both hands. We do not bend the lulav except with his own kind, and these are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir says, even with cord. Rabbi Meir says it happened that the men of the Yerushalayim would bind a lulav with gold wire. They said to him in rebuttal, they would bind it with his own unkind. At which point is the halal service did they wave the lulav? At give thanks to Hashem, at the beginning and at the end. And at please Hashem bring salvation now. These are the words of Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai says also, at please Hashem bring success now. Rabbi Akiva said, as I was watching Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Shua, all the people were waving their lulavim, but they did not wave anything except during please Hashem bring salvation now. One who arrived from a journey when he did not have a lulav used at hand, when he comes home, he should take it at his table. If he did not take it in the morning, he should take it in the afternoon. For the entire day, it is valid for the lulav.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, that was number 9. Yeah. Okay, to brachas. Dalet Hey.
If someone was riding on a donkey, he must dismount. If he is unable, he must turn his face. If he is unable to turn his face, he shall direct his heart to the Holy of Holies. If someone was sitting in a boat or on a wagon or on a raft, he shall direct his heart to the Holy of Holies. Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah says the Musaf Tefillah is only recited within the city congregation. But the comments say with or without the city congregation. Rabbi Yehuda says in his name, wherever there is a local congregation, the individual praying alone is exempt from reciting the Musaf Tefillah.
Okay.
All right, good.
That's it.